Hi, Misha Gill with Speedwell Law. Thank you for your interest in my law firm. This is a video that I'm putting together about the tips about choosing an estate executor. So the first thing that I would suggest that you do in looking at a person who you're going to nominate as an executor or other fiduciary, such as a trustee, is that person should be someone responsible, right? And that's because it's obviously a very big job. Now, it's a nice indication that person is responsible if they have a good job, are good with money, are a professional. These are not obviously requirements, but just sort of things that we're looking at. The bottom line is that you gotta trust them to be a responsible person. And that means someone that's efficient with their time in making decisions and taking care of things, being proactive and not letting things fall by the wayside. Someone who's good with money, someone who you can trust to keep good paperwork, and just generally at bottom, someone whose judgment you trust. So that's the most important characteristic of any executor, of course, but there's a few more tips that I have that you might find useful. So another good tip would be that this person should be in a stable financial position. The temptation of having controls of large chunks of money when you don't have any can be too much. And that's how good people go astray. And so just nominating someone as executor who has a stable financial situation, a long track record of just financial stability is a good tip. The next tip, and this one's less of a must, I would suggest that proximity to you is important. Not necessarily because all the jobs have to be done in person, but just because the ability to show up at local government offices, to show up at the lawyer's office, to meet with beneficiaries in person, just generally being around and available and able to check up on property, change the locks, all that stuff. That's a nice thing if you have that luxury of having someone nearby. Not everyone does, and so it's okay if your executor is going to be further away. Now more than ever, executors can do the job from afar, but it's a nice luxury to have if that person is in proximity to you. The next tip would be to just choose someone that has good relationships with everyone involved. You don't want to inflame or give fuel for litigating old grievances with this position. You want someone that's just as non-controversial as possible to do this really big job that can easily be done wrong and can lead to lots of drama. Avoidance of drama makes everyone's life better. So, good relationships, absolutely a good tip. Patience. This person that you're giving this job to is going to have a big job, and they should be someone who's going to have some stick-with-itness, some resilience, and generally just some patience, because it takes a long time. There are a lot of frustrating roadblocks to overcome, and that person that you're giving this job to is going to need to be patient. It's not going to be optional. And so if you give someone with a disposition of patience the job, then it's probably going to go better and cause less pain for everyone. Finally, the last tip regarding choosing an executor is simply build in some redundancy. Have a backup plan. Have another person to succeed your executor if the person that is your first choice is unavailable to serve because, firstly, they could pass away. Secondly, they may be going through a personal crisis at the time that the job comes around. Like if a spouse is going through a serious illness, then they might not have the bandwidth to take on administering your estate, and no one is going to be well served by that if they have to, if they're the only one that can do the job. There are still options available if they decline, even in the face of them being the only job. but it's a lot simpler if you just have a backup plan. All right, so those are my tips for choosing an executor. Thank you so much again for your interest in Speedwell Law, and give us a call if we can be of any service to you. Thanks.